Grown Folks Production.
In the mix.
With the commish, Nate.
And with that, welcome into Press Pass Live, your weekly OMFL podcast show. I'm your host, the commish, Nate. Thanks for hanging out with me. Let me get my buddy in here, the commish of the Deuce, the owner of the Atlanta Falcons, Mr. Maniac himself, Frozen over there in West Texas. How you doing, bud?
I'm doing great, man. Like you said, it is frozen. It feels like the frozen tundra. We're not used to this, man. We're used to them 3-digit numbers on the degrees, not the single digit stuff. So it's crazy. We got snow on the ground, but excited to get into this Press Pass Live and talk about the OMFL.
Man, there's so much to talk about, and the mailbag is full. Some crazy questions. I don't know if you've got to look, but yeah, I would just prepare yourself before we even get there, that it is on its way. All right, let's recap week number 6 here. What's up, Massimo? I'm slowly getting there, man. I'm not 100%, but as I say that, I cough. I am slowly getting there, and the wife, I think, is starting to turn the corner. So I'm ready to all be back to a normal routine. Dallas Cowboys, they fall to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Maniac, 42-27. I would have never guessed this in 100 years. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers put up 28 points in the fourth quarter. This, coupled with the real-life Dallas Cowboys loss, probably not putting our buddy Dwayne in a great mood right now. And this one just got away from him somehow. I watched this game all the way up till the fourth quarter, and then I wasn't able to continue to watch. But man, that defense really started to fail them there in that fourth quarter. Only 187 passing yards, but they allowed 305 passing yards. There was 4 third down conversions to 6 for the Cowboys. So the Cowboys defense did their job on third down, but it was the other areas that they struggled with, including the turnovers. 0 turnovers for the Dallas Cowboys defense, but the Tampa Bay Buccaneers did grab 2 of them. Ryder had an outstanding day, probably the best one we've seen him have so far early this season. 4 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. He did have 3 sacks, but 66% completion percentage is going to set the Tampa Bay Bucks up for a great victory. Big win there that probably messed up a whole lot of gold sheets and a whole lot of pick'ems, but the Tampa Bay Buccaneers getting a victory there. The Browns with a 31-28 victory over the Detroit Lions. Another game that probably screwed up a ton of gold sheets and a ton of pick'ems here. 311 passing yards for the Detroit Lions. I've still got Tampa Bay on the mind, but only 49 rushing yards. You kind of flip-flop those for the Cleveland Browns. 248 yards on the ground, 264 passing yards, so a much more balanced attack, but 512 total yards for the Cleveland Browns. 2 turnovers for the Detroit Lions. Both of them had 4 third down conversions and a 23-minute to 16-minute time of possession. Drizzlick played great, 270 passing yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. He was 13 for 19 for 68%. The Lions rookie, though, Kel Grubbs, who has had a pretty outstanding rookie season, 3 touchdowns, but 2 interceptions. He did go 19 for 34, only 55% completion percentage, and gave up 3 sacks on the day. Big win for the Cleveland Browns. Now let's see if they can just kind of pile some of those on top of each other. Looking at the Packers with a big win over the Mounties, 48-3. Tennessee with a 31-20 victory over the Texans, but I think that was a CPU game. What's some other games here? Kansas City, a big 26-24 victory over the Denver Broncos. So Kansas City and Shocks trying to get some things going over there. The Chargers with a 27-20 victory over the Bills. The Raiders with a 27-20 victory over the Jaguars. San Francisco just barely squeaking out a victory over the Orlando Condors, 24-21. Baltimore, a 27-21 victory over the New York Jets. Arizona, 29-23 victory over myself. And then Pittsburgh falls to Cincinnati, 47-41. So many games that we could have covered here because they were all close. And that was after a couple of small tweaks and adjustments. But man, what a look at week number 6. Let's look forward though. 7, 8, and 9. What are you looking forward to week number 7?
All right, week number 7. Man, week number 6 was crazy. So let's see what we're going to have in week 7 here. Are we going to have some good games? I think we are. One kind of like an undercard game that you would look at, I think, is the top one right off the list. Raiders and Texans. I think you've seen Roger kind of have some better games the last couple weeks. The Raiders have also been playing well, so I think this game right here would be like an undercard game to check out and to keep your eye on here. Both teams are pretty good on the defensive side. They struggle both, I think, a little bit on the offense, but should be a great matchup. Then you got the Ravens versus the Lions. Got Nipple versus Trey. I think that would be a good one to check out because both guys, they're okay on defense, but I think where their strength lies is on the offense, especially like big plays. You see the Ravens. I think they have big play a lot of times in the rushing attack. I think he has gotten better at being a passer this season, or at least this Madden when he's checked in. But the Lions, they have that prolific offense that's always looking for the big play with his weapons. So that should be a good matchup. Jaguars, Titans. I know we got the new owner, Penguins. I'm not sure if Pepper's going to be checked in yet, but nice to see that Penguins has made his way back to the OMFL. Chiefs, Eagles. I think this one is kind of another undercard game to watch. You got the Chiefs with Luka Mahomes or Shocks fan. Looks like he's kind of maybe figured a couple things out, possibly, hopefully. I know he had a fire sale up, so maybe this is either going to help him or change his mind on that. And then you got Twinkie, who started out, I think, 3-0. I think he's failed the last couple weeks, but again, I think these two match up really well. Both have similar type of offenses. I like to get the wide receivers involved, and then they'll use their running attack off of that. I think another one here is the Jets, the Patriots. This is a interdivision game here with in the AFC East. Lost Sniper. Unfortunately, he lost his rookie quarterback I think he should be coming back.
Yeah,
hopefully,
pretty close,
maybe
I think.
So, but he's done pretty good, but he's also kind of been up and down. The Jets are not quite as stout as they have been, but still, he's one of the top guys in the league. So this one's always a good one to check out. Browns versus the Mounties. Always have a hard time getting my mind wrapped around these created teams, the Mounties. But little Koch, man, I think he's figured out some things. He had a very prolific rushing attack in that last game. You were talking about almost 200 something yards, I think, total for his team. So way to get the rushing game going for that team. If he gets that going and solidified the rest of the season, watch out for those Brownies. Packers and Giants. Priest struggling, and all of a sudden this last week we see that he scored the 48 points or 42 points or whatever. Was that just the matchup between the Mounties, or is that something that maybe Priest has found something that's working for him? But Colin has also been better this season. He's already matched, or I think he's even got more wins now than he had all of last season. So he's definitely playing a lot better. The Commanders now with Bill facing the Denver Broncos, another good matchup. Saints, Rams, Shalabad, a good matchup here. I know you've had some struggles. Shalabad has had some struggles. So again, maybe one of those games where one of you guys get back on track. Falcons, Cardinals. This one's going to be probably an interesting one. Obviously, I've been struggling as well, and so has Joker. But Joker, really, I think he has a big-time offense that seems to always stretch the field. He's got those really fast, speedy wide receivers, so it'll be interesting to see how it matches up with the Falcons. The big game, though, and I can just keep rattling on, but the big game, I think, for this week, and this is going to be the fight of the century or whatever, is the Bengals versus the 49ers. You got D Money versus Mr. Denbrew, and both these guys are humming right now. The Bengals, we saw they got their last win against the Steelers. It was like 47-41. Where was the defense? But I think this one is going to be one you have to tune into. You have to watch. Hopefully, maybe we can call one of these games. I'm getting the itch. I want to call a game with you because, man, they're so fun to do. And this is one right here that the OMFL has to tune into for this game. And then another one, just looking down at the bottom here, the Panthers and Dolphins. I think both these guys are great owners. Both have very high-flying offenses, a lot of speed at the outside wide receivers, and look for this one to be a good game to watch as well.
Yeah, those last three, I think, could be really spectacular. Condors, Bucks, 49ers, Bengals, and then, I forgot the last one, Panthers, Dolphins. That's right. Those could be all really, really great games. Week number 8 is also going to have some matchups. You and I get to play each other for the first time, so I'll be ready to hang myself in the back fan that I have here when that game's over with. Ravens and Titans could sneaky be a good game. Look, Penguins knows how to play really great defense, and as he gets those offensive pieces put together, he can hang 40-50 with the best of them. He's already going to have a pretty good defense to deal with, and I think that's going to be the strong suit right out of the batch there with him taking over the Titans. Look for him to give Nipples a bit of a run for his money. That could be a sneaky good game to be able to watch. Patriots and Bills, I think, could just be fun. Hopefully, Lost Sniper Patriots will have his quarterback, his rookie quarterback that got injured in week 1 in a CPU game. I think he'll be back either here or close here. Hopefully, he'll be back here because that's just going to be a fun game to see Big Hurt bringing the Buffalo Bills over there. Him and New England could have a really fun game. Browns and Cardinals. We know that Joker has gotten that Cardinals team in the playoffs last season. They're kind of up and down this season, but he definitely still has the pieces. And Little Koch seems to be getting some momentum going. Now, we have to see what he does in week number 7, but this could be a sneaky fun matchup as well, just to see how those two teams play each other. Eagles, Raiders could be a ton of fun. Look, Twinkie has struggled the last couple of weeks. Jay Bowles kind of struggled coming out of the gate, but both teams have potentials to make a run for a playoff game, and this could go a long way. Bengals, Broncos, though, could be matchup of the week. I also like Bucks and Jets. We'll get there in a second. But both of these teams can put up points with the best of them. We've seen what the Bengals did, putting up, I think it was 47 in week number 6. They're just putting up tons of points. They're going to need to do so against the Miami Dolphins, who has speed on every aspect of his team. Buccaneers and Jets, though, could be a ton of fun. Now, Kevin needs to keep his confidence building, but if he can build off of this week 6 performance that he just had against arguably the best team in the OMFL this season, then that could go a really long way. Can he keep that going in week number 7 and bring that into this game, week number 8, on the road, visiting Kobe and the Jets? Giants, Cowboys could be a ton of fun. We'll see. Like, does Dwayne come back with a vengeance after this past week against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers? Does Colin keep things rolling? I mean, he's got the rookie quarterback. He's got that offense just chugging along there. Might be a fun matchup as well. What about week number 9? What are you looking for?
Week number 9, right off the bat, we got Big Hurt, Massimo, the Bills and Dolphins. Anytime you get the AFC East, there's always fireworks going on in that division. So this one's a really good game, I think. Big Hurt, I know that game he played against me, he pretty much ran me into the ground. Like, I couldn't do much of anything. And he's got that team playing really well. Massimo, again, got so much speed on the field. Like, you think you got one guy covered, and he's got 6 other guys that can hurt you just equally as bad, or if not worse, than the guy you're trying to take away. Penguins versus Roger, Titans versus Texans, Patriots versus Saints. I think Lost Sniper and the the Saints, this matchup would be really good, I think, to watch. Both you guys kind of play similar style of ball on Madden, and I think this one would be a good one to tune into. Again, I don't know about Pepper. You could talk about the Chargers and the Jaguars, but Black Cats really has done well there in San Diego with those Chargers. This would be an intriguing matchup since it is the team that Pepper left to go to the Jaguars, so it would be an intriguing matchup in the storyline, but I don't know if he's going to have his setup yet or if he's going to be playing in. But Seahawks versus Falcons, this one could be really good or it could be really ugly. The Falcons have put up a lot of points this season, and the Falcons defense has struggled. So this smells like it could be something that could get away. The Falcons really, I mean, the Seahawks with Meat Boy has really put together a good offensive showing in the games that I've watched so far this season. Really gets everyone involved in his game plan. Again, we're going on the Bengals and Ravens. The nipple, it just depends on if he's, in this game or whatever. But hopefully he's not on another cruise. But Denver, again, you just can't sleep on Denver. If you take his team lightly any way whatsoever, you're going to get in trouble big time. So again, this is another divisional matchup here within that NFC North, and so AFC North, I'm sorry, but these guys usually when they're both on and involved, they play and have a really tough matchup, and so it'd be a good one to watch. Chiefs Browns. Again, I mean, you just talk about, you just go down the line. There's so many intriguing matchups that could happen. Little Koch again, storylines. The Browns look like they're finding their niche in this season with the running game, playing off of that with a good solid performance with his young quarterback, really balanced. Chiefs having early struggles, but now maybe finding something now as well. So this could be playoff implications going on into the rest of the season. NFC East, Eagles, Giants, Twinkie and Colin have both played so far this Madden. The bottom dwellers kind of in that division will now, both of them seem to kind of have made a little bit of strides to move forward this season. And then you take a couple of missed games from Dwayne and the Cowboys, and now this looks like this division may be kind of wide open. So all these games are very important with these guys in this division. Steelers at the Rams, Cincy Berg, Shiloh, both are great owners. Always good to tune in and see how things are going there. Mounties, Vikings, the new Deuce champion with the Vikings here, and he plays with his favorite team in the Deuce, the Giants. He just won that Deuce Bowl. The Vikings though versus the Mounties. Tim, let's see if Tim can actually get things moving in the right direction for his team. I know he's been talking about he's looking to have a garage sale for his players too, I think. So he's looking to move guys. So let's see what happens there. This one is going to be a really good game, though. This next one, D-Money versus Bird and the Panthers. I think this could be a playoff, maybe foreshadowing of what could come in, like the NFC Championship game. Bird has really played well in the last couple of seasons, and he got to move to his favorite team, so that's always a plus for some guys. That really kind of gets them motivated more to get things done for in the league and make their team better. And so you see the 49ers, though, D-Money, it just, what can you say? It's D-Money, but this should be an intriguing matchup, one to watch. And then right down the next one, Lions, the Vikings, Lions and the Buccaneers. I'm sorry, I got confused there. But Trey, I seen his name on the game, the Vikes Bull. That always throws me off. I want to say Vikings, but anyway, both these guys play extremely well, and they've had some playoff games that they've played in, and the games have come down kind of to the wire. So this will be a matchup that could have playoff implications going further down the road as well. If the Buccaneers are actually getting things turned around the corner. Raiders, Condors could be a big matchup. I know the Condors have played really well, but I think he did have a couple of CPU games that he lost. So I think, again, his record's kind of skewed a little bit. But Raiders, this is a game for the Raiders to see where they're at. Could they possibly make that jump up? Because you're facing off against the defending OMFL champion, and then the Cowboys and the Packers. If Priest plays like he did this last week we just talked about, could give the Cowboys a little bit of trouble, but I just don't see it.
I'm about to say, you really believe that? I don't know. That's a tough one. Well, he said it, so I don't know that he believes it, but he did say it, so that's all that matters.
Probably what's going to happen, though, is Dwayne is going to take his frustration out. The Cowboys losing the actual playoff game, and he's just going to try to dismantle the Packers. So
yeah, I would not want to play the Cowboys anytime in the next 48 hours. I think you're asking for it. Let's turn the corner now. That's what we had happen here since the last Press Pass Live. If you missed the prediction show, go check it out. You can hear all of our predictions. But now I want to talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly early in season 108. It's hard to believe it's not early still. It's almost week number 8. I mean, here soon we're going to be halfway through it, but still fairly early in the season as we'll be advancing to week number 7. I think a little later tonight. Bird in the chat said Panthers-Dolphins tonight after the Eagles playoff game. That would be a ton of fun. Guys, thanks for hanging out with us. Reach down there, smash that like button. Helps us out a ton. So let's talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly. We're going to start with the good. I always want to flip-flop these and do good last, but it's not the way this works. So let's talk about the good that we've seen so far this season. And for me, it is a little mixture of things. Let's get over here and I'll show you what I'm kind of talking about. It really was about what I've seen in the last probably 48 hours, and that is all of these great games that we've seen. Games are now, I think we've got to figure the sliders out a little bit closer to where we want to be. And so having these games be competitive and be close, it is a benefit to the look. It's what the NFL strives for. It's what we strive for here. But anytime you have a team like the Browns, they're sitting at 4-2, big victory over the 4-2 Lions. You got the Green Bay Packers hanging 48 on the Mounties. He's got his first win of the season. Teams like the Chiefs getting his second win of the season with a 26-24 victory, a 27-20 game. I don't want to go over all these games I've already talked about, but anytime you see these very closely competitive games or even games where the underdog is coming away with victories on the road, like those are good things for the league. And I think these are good things for the potential of the playoffs and where we're trying to go and keeping more guys involved in their team, more guys who think they have an opportunity for one of those wild card spots. And so I think for me, the good has been the competitiveness of this league and having guys perform on the field and know that they can compete. I know I dropped my game against the Cardinals, but it felt better. It felt pure. I just couldn't stop the vertical. There's no answer for the vertical. But outside of that, I was competing, and that's all I ever asked for is like compete, compete, compete. So the good for me are all the teams that are competing this year and have an opportunity at a wild card spot at their division, even having some new blood like Penguins here, Big Hurt moving over to Buffalo, having Bill move down to the Commanders. Like this is just kind of moving some of the power around. And I think it's going to lead to some really fun, weeks 15, 16, 17, 18, and then that first week of the wild card. For you, what's been the good? feel like mine
I
always
think-
end abruptly. I gotta figure out a better way to end that. It's like radio silence. Like Nate just abruptly stopped talking. But what's been the good for you here in season 108?
No, I like your points that you made, and for me, I think also kind of the landscape changing a little bit. I think that helps things stay fresh. Obviously, I'm not one to advocate that you need to switch teams like every season, but big hurt. But but no, I think with a little bit of change, sometimes it's good because I think that kind of makes some of the power, like you said, get shifted around. There's not just like a cluster all in one division or one conference, or So sometimes I think that's good. One thing I think we're seeing a better all around play. Again, you kind of alluded to this as well with the closer game plays and stuff. I know, like you hate to see week in, week out the same thing, only one thing matter. Like, say, for instance, speed. We've talked about this. We had discussions. Guys that have really fast wide receivers, and if speed is the thing that's key in sliders to where that's all they have to do is just throw it up, then that's not really fun. And yeah, it's fun for the guy that's got the 99 speed wide receiver, but it's not fun for
Massimo.
the rest. Yeah, the rest of the league, because they got nobody to hang with him the whole game, and you see like where there's instances even in the NFL, like where there's weeks where it does pay off, but then there's other times, other factors that come in. And again, we're playing a video game, and so you want to have the things balanced out. Obviously one thing we've had struggle with, generating pass rush, especially the last season, and that was one of the key factors of looking at the all Madden, going to that and changing some stuff up, and I think we are seeing more pass rush, and pass rush being a factor. In some cases it's really strong, other cases it's not. So again, I think when you try to look at the things and the good things, trying to create some kind of balance, some kind of consistency is what's best for the league. And I think we're getting there. Obviously there's still maybe a little tweaking to do, but again, like I've said before, like these tweaks are that, and they're very slight. We're not having to go from you got pass block at 0, and now you got to switch it all the way to 80 to get change. I think there's just little minute moves can help or improve things. So again, though, you see these type of scores, it's encouraging to see that, and I think in the long run that's best for the league, and it's a good thing.
Yeah, and just looking at the numbers to put a bow on this before we move to the bad, the stats don't look too bad. Now, the interception stats may be a tad high. Again, can't 100% connect this to what we see in the NFL. Some stats are just never going to match up because it's a game and we're not NFL quarterbacks. But, interception numbers may be a little inflated. Sack numbers look pretty good. They're better than what they have been. Passing numbers overall look way better. I mean, most of the top quarterbacks have more touchdowns than interceptions, and that's always going to be a really good thing, whereas we've seen those numbers so skewed over the last few seasons. Rushing numbers look pretty good. Your top ones right at almost 800 yards. We're not at the halfway mark. Receiving numbers don't look too bad here. I mean, your top guy's 50 receptions for 883. Overall, the numbers are looking pretty good. So I think that is something to look forward to, especially with how they feel right now. I feel like early on they just weren't there, but I feel like Maniac has got us on a good road now. And again, we're going to finish out this season where we are, making minor tweaks, and then the board will decide if we are either going back to All Pro and finishing the cycle there, or staying All Madden and finishing the cycle there. Either way, we're going to finish the cycle with wherever we are next season. Big Hurt, you say that every team you go to, literally every team you go to, you say that exact phrase. So just stop saying it. So it is what it is. Let's talk about the bad. For me, it's, again, I wish I probably should. Listen, I'm gonna let you do it. I'm just gonna be commissioner. Okay. I was talking myself out of it because I was like, I probably should talk more league specific, but the bad for me has been FPR. I don't know what has happened, how we forget this very easy set of rules. It just goes to prove that the old rule book was way too deep, way too big, way too many percentages. And a lot of you were probably breaking it and no one was turning you in and no one was catching it. And so you got away with it because even with this simple rule book, we've had so many FPR breaks, from signing too many guys, which has been here for 2 Madden cycles, to using contract restructures when you haven't earned them, or when we're passing to running backs or tight ends too much. Just like, it's crazy all the FPR breaks that we're having. And we've even had one team that's already in level 2, which I was hoping we never get to. But again, team, we got to do a better job. The rule book is literally a paragraph this big for offense, a paragraph that big for defense, and one this big for special teams. And we just have to be better. So for me, the bad has been FPR. Please save this show and have something to say about the actual League Maniac. What's been the bad for you?
This, I'm a commissioner too at heart, so FPR issue was one of the ones I had listed on there. But I'll skip over that. I think the bad is that maybe possibly you see a lot of the guys in the chat, and I'll throw myself underneath the bus right now on this subject. I think the push to have a winning team in the OMFL has taken top priority a lot of times above community. And like I said, I'll throw myself under the bus because sometimes you get so hyped up for it and you want to compete so bad, and you've put a lot in your team, and all of a sudden, you start off the season and the wheels start falling off, and it's like, and then I'm having to reflect, am I putting winning and taking the top priority over the community? And yes, I think in a lot of ways I have, and maybe I'm not the only one. I have seen some others. It seems like just you have some success in a couple seasons, and then you have some down seasons, and it's like, I'm done. And and it takes that can take away from the overall experience. And like I said, I'll throw myself underneath the bus on that because, again, sometimes you get the itch, you want to win, and you see these guys, going to the playoffs, going to the OMFL Bowl. I've been there once and lost to a guy that's no longer in the league, and but that. Those things like that, because you get a taste and you want to keep experiencing it because you like it. I mean, we're human. We like to win. We want our teams
Absolutely.
to win. Man, I'll tell you, like, when my Cowboys lost yesterday, I'm so bummed out, man. I was like, oh, I can't believe it. They're down 27-0, and but I think, again, though, we have to remember that this is a community and we're a brotherhood, and those types of things like that, we need to reflect on it and say, okay, it's got to take the second seat or the back seat, here, and let's just have a good time together, work together with each other to make this league even better than what it is. Because I'm telling you right now, this is one of the best Madden leagues out there, the best Madden league out there, and it's only that way because of the people that's here, and let's keep it that way.
Let's talk about the ugly. First ugly I am doing 2 of them because this one just kind of came to me. The first ugly I got, EA just released a beta form of crossplay for franchises. Where EA, get it together. give us that in August. That could have been so useful way back then. But the real ugly that I want to talk about is the OMFL NFC South and AFC South. I mean, does anybody in these divisions outside of the Panthers actually want to win? Panthers at 4-1, Falcons at 2-3, my Saints at 0-6, Buccaneers at 1-5. They did have the big victory this past week. And then the AFC South, Condors at 3-3, Jaguars at 3-3. And that's a team who's had tons of CPU games. So technically they're not even really technically they are 3-3, but they probably shouldn't be 3-3. Titans at 2-4 and Texans at 0-6. Raj, just me and you, buddy. We're going for that number 1 pick. But these have been two ugly divisions, and they have been for a couple of seasons now. These are two divisions that are loaded with really good dudes, really good owners. I mean, hell, your champions are sitting in the AFC South. They're at 3-3, and they're your champions right now. So I'm really pulling for all of these two divisions to get it together and to see teams like the Texans, the Titans now with Penguins, the Jaguars with Pepper once he can get back. Me and my Saints, geez, get it together, Nate. The Buccaneers, your Falcons are starting to get some wins. Like, let's see these teams make these other teams actually have to compete so they don't get to the playoffs and be like, oh, this is the first competitive game I've had all season. I don't know what to do here. So the ugly for me has been the AFC South and the NFC South. What about you? What's been the ugly?
There was only one word that came to my mind, ugly, and it was the sliders. I hate sliders. I love sliders, but I really like sliders can either help or they can make things go in a total different direction. Like we talked about already, not to beat a dead horse anymore, but the sliders, slightly tweaked or whatever, can make things really, really better, or sometimes it can make them worse. And when stuff like that happens, it tends to wake people up that may be in a sleep, and so. Sometimes those things can be ugly, and sliders just in general, I almost wish sliders weren't a thing, so that way just we could yell at EA more than what we do and say, hey, fix this game, make it play this way, because
you're right. That's a good point.
Sliders are sliders are the devil.
Yeah, it's like we cried for sliders for so long, and now that we have them, it's like, I wish they didn't have them so I could just complain at you for making a crappy game. Now instead, Nate gets hollered at for having a crappy game, not Madden. All right, let's open up the OMFL mailbag, and we've got a couple of questions to wrap up from the previous week. Trey's is going to take like a month and a half to answer, so we'll unpack this slowly. And he wants us to build our OMFL team using non-real life players. So we're going to do quarterback 1, running back 1 this week. We'll save the rest for later because whole fantasy team takes like 14 hours to build. So we'll just start to unpack these little by little. I mean, he wants all of it. He wants 5-0 line, tight ends, and I don't know what kind of time he thinks I got on my hands. But if you could pick any Madden generated quarterback, who would you take to build your team?
Well, I mean, I have a quarterback that's Madden generated, and his name's Parker Colt, but he hasn't really performed like the way I think. But I mean, I think a lot of it's user driven also, because I'm not I haven't been quite the best quarterback user this Madden. A couple Maddens ago, yeah, I would have. If I can look back a couple Maddens ago, and maybe this is what I'll just do, I'll take my boy McCoy that is in the OMFL Hall of Fame. The dude was a stud.
My guy's breaking out the Hall of Fame now.
yeah, I'm pulling that famer quarterback out for this one. So give me McCoy from the Panthers, man, because he also led me to a OMFL bowl, and he had stats on top of stats, and he was just dynamite.
I'm taking Gordon Hitchison. I just think that guy, he's got, was it 98 throwing power, 91 short, 97 medium, 95 deep, 86 speed, 96 acceleration. He's 6'3". I mean, I don't know what else you could ask for. Give me that guy all day, every day. That's a franchise quarterback. I would love to have him. Let's talk about halfback.
Yeah.
If you could take, if you can finish that thought, but then who would be your halfback?
No, I was just gonna say, yeah, you can't go wrong with Hitchens, man. That dude is a beast, and he is probably going to be an OMFL Hall of Famer by the time
100%, yeah.
he hangs it up. So, for running backs,
There's not a ton. It's shocking.
yeah, there isn't. And in fact, I was just thinking of a guy that was drafted, I think, this year that we saw a little bit. I think Demario Clayton was the one I was thinking about. He's really been pretty on fire for the Pittsburgh Steelers. He's got 678 yards, 10 touchdowns, and he's been involved in the passing game as well. So he's a well-rounded running back. But I think probably looking at overall body of work, the guy that has dominated the fantasy football league so far this Madden cycle, you have to look at Spencer McGee. McGee from the Bengals. He's been, I think, a 2,000-yard rusher, I think, if I'm thinking of stats right. Either the first season or maybe possibly this last season, but he's always putting up high fantasy points. And if you look at all the fantasy rosters with the OMFL Fantasy Football League, almost every one of them has McGee. Like it's probably like 80% of the teams have McGee on their squad. So.
I'm taking Jamal Wilkinson, halfback for the Arizona Cardinals out of West Virginia. I mean, he's number one, he's a white running back. I just think that's cool. 224 pounds, 92 speed, 90 acceleration, 86 change of direction, 78 strength. He's got 92 carry, 88 ball carry vision, 78 break tackle, and he's only a one-year guy. He was a rookie last year. I just think that's another like player you can just do a lot of things with. You can put him in a lot of positions and move him around the field and do some stuff with him. He's a really fun player. Let's talk receiver. I was gonna stop at halfback, but I'm gonna go receiver. He wants two receivers, so if he could pick any two Madden generated wide receivers. I know I'm putting you on the spot here, but who would be your two Madden generated wide receivers?
The first one that comes to mind is Tyler Benn. The dude has just been phenomenal special teams player. He's hasn't put up like enormous catch stats, but his rack is impressive. Like he's like 24, 25 yards average a play, and it seems like every time he touches the ball, he's either almost getting close to going to the house or he's going to the house. So it's just like you cannot change anything about what he's doing on the field. I mean, you can try to guard him, you can try to contain him, but he's going to get loose. And I think if you have that guy on your team, you're going to put up some points. And I would not be ashamed to take him and put him on my team, like the very first one. If I go number two, and I know probably Trey saying this because he wants somebody to take one of his players.
Trey too well.
Reggie Conley, 6'6". I mean, you can't coach that. I mean, and even Madden. I mean, there's few Madden generated players usually that are that big. He's big frame, and he's got really good attributes for speed and quickness. And man, can he catch the ball? He's just he's a Mr. Consistent. You can always get, the chains move with that type of guy. So now I've got Ben on one side that can just stretch the field beyond, and then you got this guy who can also stretch the field a bit, but he's also big bodied, that can be a red zone weapon, but also just move the chain, pass after pass after pass. And so that would be my wide receiver setup.
I'm taking Damian Justice for the New England Patriots. He's small. He's 5'11". He's a second-year player, but he's already superstar. I just love everything about it, right? 95 speed, 93 acceleration, 92 change of direction, 86 catch. He can just route run. He can go around. You can catch everything. I think he's going to be a big-time player, especially whenever the Patriots get their rookie quarterback back. And then I got to go with a guy who just knows how to draft really good receivers out of Texas, Mr. Roger, Brandon DeMarco, 6'1", 98 speed, 96 acceleration, 91 change of direction, a little weak, 66 strength, but he does everything else well. 89 catch, 8 catch in traffic. He's got great route running, good spectacular catch. Brandon DeMarco would be one of those guys that you can really build upon and do a lot with. So I really like that one. All right, Twinkie also had one. He's got two questions that we couldn't get to last week. Some of us, listen, Nate has a hard time with English. All right. Some of us, including me, have a hard time with grammar. But when you mix my bad English with y'all's bad grammar, it's impossible here. Y'all got to help a brother out. Mr. Twinkie said, who best rookie so far? He meant who's the best rookie so far? In your opinion, who has been the best rookie? There's no kind of parameters around there, so it's pretty wide open. For you, who's been the best rookie so far?
I have to give it to probably the running back that the Steelers have, Clayton. I mean, he's six yards a carry. He's been dynamic, 10 touchdowns. Only had one fumble, and he's averaging about 113 yards a game. And there's only 3 guys that are averaging over 100 yards so far in the season, and he's one of them. And he's in the upper echelons with Jonathan Taylor and Austin Eckler from the Patriots, which I'm glad to see that he's got somebody that's actually up there in the top. For me, that would be the one. And then if I had an underscore, the wide receiver for the Giants, I'm trying to think of his name, Stanford, I think he's put up pretty solid numbers. I think the last I saw is 30 something catches, 400 and something yards, and 5 touchdowns or something like that. So he's really been a nice addition to the Giants. He's always looking for guys to stretch the field, and so that would be my 1A, 1B rookies for this season.
Yeah, Randy Stafford. He's having a really good season. I'm going to stay right there with the wide receivers. I would go with, I just had him. I just want to make sure I say the name right. Oh my goodness, where have I put him? I just had him, and then I got off of him to go.
Wouldn't be the Browns rookie wide receiver.
God, what's his name?
Okay, Eli Barkley.
Eli Barkley, that's it. Eli Barkley. Let me find him. Jeez, where did I put you, Eli? Here you are. Jeez, I ran right past him. Already 37 receptions, 6 touchdowns, almost 700 yards, 695 yards, averaging 18.8 yards per catch.
Oh, wow.
I played this guy in the preseason and knew immediately he's a problem. He's going to be a problem for the AFC, and he has been. So Eli Barkley would probably be my most impressive one. We talked about this a little bit last season on Press Pass Live, but really the defense is lacking rookies. There's nobody in the top 10 in sacks or interceptions. We also kind of have to give a bit of a head nod. My 1B would be Kel Grubbs. Of course, Trey's going to love this, but this guy's playing really well. 13 touchdowns, 12 interceptions. We see that from rookies. 58% see that from rookies, but he's still number 2 in yards, 1,860 yards. He is playing really good. 14 sacks only this season. 5'11", out of Georgia, 208. Big fella. He can run a little bit. I see Kale continuing to grow, and he's going to be superb, I think, late in this season as he continues to develop, plus what we're going to see in season 109. All right, let's turn the corner. Oh, yeah, he had one more. Who had the best turnaround from one season to the next? I'm not sure exactly who you're talking about, Twinkie, so I'm actually not going to take that one. I read that wrong a while ago. So rephrase that, Twink, if you watched the show. Let me know exactly what you meant, because I don't know if we're talking about player, team. I think we're talking about team or player. It's kind of a little early still to be able to tell who's truly turned it around here. All right, let's get over to Trey. He said, is speed as dominant of an attribute for wide receivers as it once was? With dominant seasons from Michael Thomas and Cooper Kupp, is route running now the number one attribute for a receiver? What do you think about receivers, speed, route running?
For me, this Madden, I see where he's coming from, those guys, but that was last Madden, and so I think last Madden may have done a little bit better job with the speed not being quite as a dominant attribute, but I think hand in hand, you see this Madden, a lot of guys are striving to get those fast wide receivers stretching the field with those verticals. As compared to last, you couldn't really get anything downfield last Madden. This Madden, it's kind of I want to say like a 40% chance you're going to make something happen down the field, or as compared to last Madden, it was like 5% of the time you might get lucky and get something deep. But I think hand in hand though, this Madden, you look at it, I think the most dominant wide receivers are the ones that have speed and also good route running, because they just get in and out of the breaks so quick, and makes it that much more tougher for guys playing a man coverage on those guys to stick with them.
Yeah, I think speed still kills. Speed always will kill. If we look at the leading wide receivers, right, outside of Conley, who is number one right now, but he's got almost double the catches as a lot of other guys that are at the top here. Godwin, speedster. Chase, speedster. Barkley, speedster. Moore's speedster. And Moore, speedster. Mims, speedster. Dyson, speedster. DeMarco, speedster. Diggs, these are all speedsters, right? And so I would say that I do think you can have a guy like Conley, clearly, Mike Thomas, clearly. You can have a guy who's really good route running, still lead the league, but it does take a bit more of I don't love this word, but a mature or a more specialized offense, especially when it comes to the offensive line. Are you getting blitzed a lot? Are you playing a lot of guys who use the defensive tackle? It's going to change sort of how you play those roles and how you run your offense. So I think speed is dominant. Is it as dominant as 2 or 3 Maddens ago? Maybe not, but I think also with our sliders, we always kind of find that good balance when it comes to the speed setting. And so I agree with what Maniac is saying, is that it is a bit of a balance between both of those. Kobe says, when building a team, how important is your team's draft spot? I would love to ask more follow-up questions there, Kobe. Like, what are we talking about? Like earning a draft spot, or when we're picking a team? However you unpack this question, Maniac, how important is draft spot?
Is it also meaning are you trying to tank to get a draft spot?
I don't fully follow the question, so we're gonna answer it the best we can here, Kobe.
Yeah, I think you always want to, even if you don't have a top 10 draft spot, you want to draft in the top 10, because normally that's where you see a lot of the big impact players come from the previous season. Now, am I not saying that you can't find an impact player at 20 or 25? No, because we, especially the last couple drafts, they've been pretty deep. But you always wish, hope, and if you're on the losing side of a 3-win season, you're going to be picking in probably the top 5 anyway. So, um, so I guess when you're in that position of having only 3 wins and your team's really down, you gotta hope that that you're able to hit and find one of those impact players at that spot, because it is very vital to you building your team. And if you miss, especially that high, and you've got a miss on maybe the first 2 picks that you got, man, you just set yourself up in a hole probably for the next season as well, and you'll be picking in the same spot again. So I don't know. That's about the best way I can unpack that question.
If I again not fully following the question, but the way I'm looking at it and the way it's reading to me, I would say if you have a team that's ready to win and win for that Madden cycle, then I don't really care or think about draft position. If you've got your quarterback, you've got your skill position players, you're overall fairly young or in a good position where you don't have to make a ton of hard choices, or if you're a team that is coming up upon a rebuild, which he did say he said when building a team. So I really think it depends on the situation you're taking over. Whereas my last few years when I had Drew Brees before he retired in real life, it's an aging roster, an aging quarterback. I don't have the next guy on the roster. But I can't, not try to win it all or win as much as I can the first season because I have Drew Brees. So it's like a catch-22 of like trying to find, like I need draft picks. I need a high draft pick. I got to get the quarterback. So I think it just depends on the team that you have. And this Madden cycle, I stink, and it's probably the worst I've stunk in quite some time in many Maddens. And I can tell you, losing sucks. And so if you have a team that isn't a winner, then just because you have a high draft pick, which is fun for a night, if you start losing again the next season after that high draft pick, it just sucks. And losing wears you down, and it hurts worse to lose then it feels good to win, and it just lasts longer, and it just sucks. So I don't know that I fully follow it, and so feel free to ask it a different way. Bill said, do you prefer playing in a dome stadium where the weather conditions are always the same, or an outdoor stadium where there's a chance for rain or snow? I don't love how Madden has changed the rain and snow games. But if I just look at Madden as a generational thing, man, I used to love playing in rain and snow games. Plus, I'm a Saints fan. We always have a dome, so I never get to play snow games. Those were always a special treat to get those. So I would say I prefer a dome because all things are sort of even, but I really do enjoy those random rain snow games where you're going to have drops and slips and weird interceptions and weird fumbles because it's just the weather is playing a role in there. Do you have a preference one way or the other?
For looking at it competitively in a Madden game, I prefer dome because I have internet problems. Everybody knows my internet problems. So when you throw in weather conditions on top of that, man, making a field goal is it goes from 50-50 to I've got a 10% chance to probably make a field goal or an extra point. So that's just already playing against me. But for the nostalgic and the I guess the photogenic possibilities of playing in a weather game, like in a snow game, for screenshots and stuff like that, I think that's really really cool, and it's something that you don't get a whole lot of. But just for me playing competitively, no, give me a dome stadium because, man, I already stink enough as it is, so I don't need to throw no more weather conditions in my way to make it even worse. So
yeah, the thing about that dome stadium though is if you're up by 1, 2, 3, and there's 45 seconds left and the other guy's got all 3 timeouts, like, I'm going to give up at least a field goal here. Whereas those outside games, you just, even like a sharp field goal, if the wind's against you or wind is whipping, it's like, go earn it, big boy. Big Herb says, a game of rebuild. If you're rebuilding your team based on this Madden, would you go strong after run game pieces, pass game pieces, or heavy in defense? If you're rebuilding your team, where are you going?
I think you have to build them all in a process. I don't think you can really have one without the other. But I think if you start rebuilding in a process, I think for me, I go running game because you control the clock and you can help your defense out with a running game. Then I think your defense needs to be your second key to building, and then I think you work on your passing game. Have I followed that every time? Probably not, but sitting here looking at it and thinking about it logically, I think that's the best thing to do because, again, like I said, when your running game is going good, you can help your defense. You can also help your quarterback not have to pass so much. I mean, you can pass, 10, 12, 15 times and stay underneath in that range and be okay, not make the big mistake that hurts your team and hurts your defense. Whereas you start building on the other, well, if your defense is weak, you score real quick, you're probably going to give up points real quick, So anyway, so I think you go in that sequence to run game, defense, passing.
Yeah, I love the question, but I feel like there are so many more intricacies, which the next question gets into some of the intricacies. So it's, to speak in the general terms, I would probably say run game pieces, because I think offensive line, like I'm building my offensive line first. This Madden, I went coming into it, built my defensive line, invested heavily into them, and it hasn't worked out well for me. But I think up front, I'm sort of old school that way. The game is won on both of the lines. And if you can build both of those lines, that'll get you to be a winner the easiest, quickest way. But if I just absolutely had to pick one of these that were spelled out here, I'd probably say heavy defense, because I'm thinking getting some guys that can get pressure on you, some guys in the DB backfield that can make plays. And if you get enough turnovers, you're going to set yourself up, even with a bad offense, to be able to score some kind of plays. Like you'll get some kind of breaks on that side of the ball. Let's speak intricacies as Bill asks his next question. Knowing what you know about knowing things. Holy cow, Bill. I need a drink after that.
I know that you know.
If you were to build your ideal defense, would you prefer a dominant defensive line, linebacker core, or secondary? 100% this Madden defensive line. It's just, if you can have 2 dominant defensive tackles and some speedster defensive ends, you can ruin someone's night with the defensive line. But where are you going with one of those 3?
Yeah, I like that because you see like where guys are that have the really good inside D tackles, and you don't really have to have like great outside edge rushers, but if your D tackles are pushing in and collapsing that pocket from the inside, it pushes them outside, and 9 out of 10 times those guys are going to disengage from the left tackle, right tackle, and they're going to put pressure on the quarterback even from that spot. So again, probably D tackles. I'm the type of guy, and I just noticed that D Money posted on their secondary next question. So I've always kind of had that feeling too, like secondary was important, but I think right off the bat now, especially with the settings that we have right now, I think D tackles are probably the most important thing to your defense as a whole right now. It helps stop the run, and it also helps your passing defense. So,
and for everyone who says that it's not easy to user a defensive line, Go look at what Joker is doing here in the OMFL and the Deuce, and then come have that real conversation with me, because you really don't want to have that conversation with me. Big Hurt, you're killing me with this next question. Like, absolutely. I don't even know where to start unpacking this. What time is it? Jeez, I feel like we're going to be here for 4 hours answering this one. I'm going to keep this one really general. I'm going to give you credit for it. But this is a terrible question, Big Hurt. This is just way too much. Basically, he lists every big three, or what he thinks is every big three wide receiver running back duo. Well, I guess there's some that have tight ends in here. Yeah. So it's like running back, wide receiver, tight end duo. He says game of the best big three. Who is the best big three on one given team? Not based on stats, but who you think is the most dangerous or difficult to plan for. And he lists out a ton of them here, and these are all really, really good. If I sort of had to pick one, default, I sort of, there's so many. They're all good. These are all good. These are all difficult. Like, they really are. There's the Falcons are missing here. Oh, no, he's here. London, Pitts, Robinson, like, that's a tough one. Cowboys with Ben, Bass, and Pollard, especially what Bass does. It's just like, he drives me absolutely insane. I would go lazy. I'm going Buccaneers. Goodwin, Palmer, Tucker. It just drives you insane. And I'd even put his tight end in that conversation as well. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers just drive me insane. But any of these big three that you're like, yo, I love that one, including the one that you have.
Yeah, I mean, you could. I almost feel like you could just pick any one of these and not be wrong, because there's a lot of dynamic players in this. I think, looking at this, I really do like my Falcons. The Robinson with Pitts and London, I think both complement each other really well. You got Pitts at the tight end position, who can also stretch the field. He's faster than some of my wide receivers, and he's just a matchup nightmare. And then London's my guy, kind of moves his chains and makes big plays seem like in big situations. And then Robinson's he can be a power back, or he can be an elusive back. He's just got all the tools. But I think, picking outside of what I know and what I've played with, I think I would take the Bengals. You got Chase, and Dyson, and then McGee. You've seen those guys make super big plays throughout the season. I think Chase had over 2,000 yards last season, and McGee, again, we talked about earlier in the show, he's a fantasy football, just absolutely can win you games on fantasy football, and he puts up so much stats and touchdowns, and he's just a really good all-around back. And then I think he's also, I don't think it's listed, but I think he drafted a tight end, or he picked up one in free agency that's not just really bad. It's actually a decent guy, and I think he's building him. So he's just getting more weapons to go along with the Bengals. And
ooh, you pulled Nate there. You just
probably take the Bengals.
Oh, you cut out there for a second. I was like, ooh, you pulled a Nate there and just cut off in the middle of your sentence. But no, you just kind of had a bit of a hiccup. Raj, I love you. I love Joker, but I disagree. There's no craft. You just go get a superstar defensive tackle. You hit 2 buttons, maybe 1, and you got instant pressure. I just don't know. I'd have to be taught how that's a skill, because there's no skill there. Here's part 8 of Big Hurt's 18-mile-long question. Since I'm the owner who moves a lot, thought this is fitting for a question. If you could trade your team to be any team right now in the OMFL, who would you want to trade for? Give me your top 3 teams, and your current team can be one of them. Ugh, God, you're killing me with these long questions. Top 3 teams, if I could trade. I have my favorite team, so I'll just pick 3 new teams that fit. Like, I just want to try something different. I would pick Falcons. I played with them before. They have great jerseys. I go jerseys. Like, who would be fun jerseys to play with? So I go Falcons if I really want to stay here. The other 2, I'd probably go AFC, just because if I'm moving from my favorite team, I want to go try something totally different. I'd probably go Bills. I think the snow games, the outdoor stadium, great jerseys. They would be a fun one. And maybe Tennessee Titans, another one. Just you and I kind of talked about that one in DM, would be a really fun jersey to have.
Yeah, my Titans were one of the ones that I was thinking because obviously they're the Oilers throwback uniforms are just so sweet. I mean those have to be the number one uniform ever made, worn, whatever in the NFL, hands down. And I'm a Cowboys fan, true, but man, I would almost just say the Cowboys, start wearing the Oilers uniforms because it just looks so neat. I think another team that I would just based off of maybe the youth of the team, Texans. They also got some pretty neat uniforms with the red helmets now and stuff, and the red jerseys. Those look pretty cool. And I would probably even throw in the Lions. I think the Lions, they've got some neat throwback uniforms. I do like the new helmets that they've got this season with the blue helmets. You see Trey wearing those a lot in his games now. I think pretty much all of his games now. And so, and plus they're a good young team that has a lot of potential, a lot of speed, and their defense is pretty solid. So again, that would be three teams that would intrigue me as well.
Raj said the Chargers. You're right. The Chargers have sweet jerseys too. If we're talking OMFL teams, I'd have to go Dolphins too. They would probably be my top three. Just they have it all. What else would you need on that team? Bird says, what are your predictions for each round of the NFL playoffs? Oh God, I stopped paying attention the second my Saints are no longer in it. So about week 7, I stopped paying attention to the
what
NFL.
Playoffs?
I'd say I think the Bills will win tonight. I don't even know the matchups.
Yeah, I don't either. After the Cowboys lost, I just lost all interest.
Yeah, I mean, I'll watch, but I'm not like super. Once my team is out or whatever, I don't pay super close attention. I think Kansas City. I think the 49ers are a sexy pick, but I just don't like it. I think they're going to hit a speed bump. Who else is in it in the NFC right now? You got
Bucks,
Lions,
Eagles.
Oh, Bucks,
Lions.
Eagles. Ugh. I don't like none of those teams. I think Kansas City's going to win it all after hearing that list. That's right. Kansas City versus, Detroit. I don't believe in that at all. I guess by default, the 49ers may make it there. I don't know that I believe in Purdy. So give me Kansas City versus Detroit, and Kansas City's going to smash them. But I really don't believe that that's going to happen. All right, Big Hurt. Him and his trade teams thing. He's trying to brainwash us into this idea of not having one team.
Trade your team.
Or say start your team here in the OMFL. What is one player right now in the OMFL that is a must-have for you and your team? 100% Hitchison from the Dolphins. I've gushed over my love, but the kid has everything. You got your quarterback. You're done, and you're good to go. So give me Hitchison. Who do you have to trade for, or you have to start with if you're starting your team?
Well, I mean, I kind of went through that with Parker Colt. I kind of seen him, I wanted him, and but now I'm like, ugh, I think it's more me than it is Parker Colt. But I do think I would rather have someone that had a little bit more speed, and I think I'm going with Ryder. Ryder has been a thorn in our side since we had to play him twice a season, but he also has on top of being 99 overall in a lot of stuff,
I think 83 speed.
Yeah, 83 speed. So he's got a little bit of scramble ability and stuff. So I think I would be going out and trying to snatch him if that was possible.
Roger says Parker, Hitchison, Blasé all came from the same basic mold. Yeah, well, none of them. I tell you right now, Blasé is not Hitchinson. Nipple says, so stupid, Nipple. Since you've been sleeping on the couch, what would be the best sleeping position? I often hear you'll be on the sofa tonight from my girlfriend and was wondering if you found a comfortable position. If you have the top 3 position, please let me know so I can pass this information to Joker and he can run the stats since they never lied. Thank you. Ooh, just Roger catching strays in that one. No, my back is killing me. I haven't slept in a week, and I have a fairly comfortable couch. I tell you one thing right now, that couch bed behind me sucks. I can't sleep on that thing longer than 5 minutes, and it is murdering me. I fought that thing for a couple of days and it was like, I can't do this. I got to get some kind of sleep. I got a leather couch that I sleep on and, it is what it is. A couch. I'm ready to go sleep on my bed. Even if I got to suck COVID right out of my wife's mouth. Like I don't care. I'm ready to I'm so tired. Even in the middle of this show, I was like, I'm ready to take a nap right now. I'm so sleepy. Yeah, so no good positions. Maniac, any couch positions work well for you?
Man, I've slept on the couch like 3 times in my lifetime, and there is no position ever on a couch, I don't think, unless you got some kind of like big lounger. But if you're just talking about a regular sofa, like there is no position that you can get comfortable with, unless you're sitting with your honey smooching or something. That's about the only position I can tell you that's worthwhile on the couch.
Just because this was part of his question, I would say the best position, if your girlfriend is telling you to sleep on the couch, is on your knees, begging to come sleep in the bed. That's the very best position that you could ever ask for, because that couch thing sucks. And luckily, I've never slept on the couch because of my wife. I've just slept on the couch because somebody's been sick, so it is what it is. Team, that is going to bring us to the end of the show. No OMFL news this week, but Denver did say that it's going to be on its way back next week, so hopefully it will be back very soon. Mr. Maniac, close us out with one final thought.
Man, so many questions on the mailbag.
Too much.
We went from one extreme to the other.
Big Hurt had a booklet here, a novel, a thesis of question. Like, what are you doing to me?
Yeah, like you said, I think he's like sending subliminal messages like trade your team, trade your team. Yeah. No, but it's been a fun show.
Big Hurt promises he's not moving teams unless another team comes open. But as long as another team doesn't come open, he probably will not most likely move teams until next season at the very bare minimum. It's
but it's been a fun show. The good, the bad, the ugly. That was a pretty neat little subject, and you know, we got a lot of good games coming up, man. I seriously want to call some games, man. I so enjoy doing those. It's so much fun, and plus you get if you do the right game, you get to scout the team that you're maybe going to play the next week. So you know, sometimes that can be a helpful thing as well. So, but no, it's fun, and I'm super excited about getting the rest of the season going and finished up and getting to the playoffs, and it's just a joy to be here though. So I'm just thankful to be on the show as well. I appreciate you letting me ramble and run my mouth, since I love to talk so much, and you give me a platform to do it on. So
you did good today. You didn't ramble that much really at all. So even though we did have another crazy, it's so funny. Up to an hour, we're good. Everybody, our numbers a bit. After we cross the hour threshold, they plummet. Like at least by half, sometimes a third. Like we went to 15 viewers to 5. Like after that hour, it plummets. But guys, I thank you for hanging out with us here tonight. And great start to season 108. I can't wait to see exactly how this finishes. We have some super late games tonight, so maybe tonight we could call some games. I don't know. It depends on how late some of these games actually start. I'll hit you up and we'll see how it plays out. Guys, I'm still looking for some hot seat guests. So if you want to be a part of the hot seat, make sure that you come let me know, because I'd love to have you come be a part of the hot seat. I was trying to fix something real quick. So I'd love to hear from you. I'd love for you to come be a part of it. Let me know and come join me on a hot seat. Also, I've been trying to make some Neon Sports videos, but I actually don't know what to do next. And so if there is something about Neon Sports that you'd like to see, send me a DM. Let me know what kind of topic, and I can do a quick video on it. But outside of that, sliders are feeling pretty good. Felt at least the best that it's felt all season this last week. But with Madden, that means I'll probably feel completely terrible this next advance. I don't know why, but it just happens sometimes. Guys, I appreciate you hanging out with us, and know that we are doing our very best to keep us rolling along here. So come hang out with us. If you're not playing Madden, come play some PUBG, come play some Call of Duty, come play some of these other games that we're playing. Guys, I love you. Remember, take care of those around you. Take care of yourself, especially with this crazy cold weather coming through. You guys take care of yourself. We'll see you in the next one. Peace.
Deuces.
Smash that like and subscribe.